Hey everybody, this edition of Lionheart Radio is brought to you by the world's first creatine coffee. Each scoop is a full cup of a Colombian Arabica bean coffee infused with 5 grams of a creatine monohydrate. Now here's the deal, guys. A lot of people have differing opinions about creatine, and unfortunately a lot of really shitty supplement companies have tried to sell it to kids that want to get big, and they package it as some kind of steroid alternative, and they tell you if you cycle it and if you stack it, then you'll gain a bunch of muscle mass. And at the end of the day, none of that is true. What is true is that it's one of the most studied and beneficial supplements on the market for strength, recovery, and endurance. So whether you're a runner, whether you are a strength athlete, or whether you're somebody that wants to enhance cognitive function and just feel healthier in everyday life, a pharmaceutical-grade creatine monohydrate is going to help get you there. Go to www.creatinecoffee.com to learn what all the hype is about. And now, on to the show. This is Rick Alexander, your host for today's Minisode. If you are new to the show, definitely go check out our Tuesday and Friday episodes of Lionheart Radio because those are typically a much longer format. One of the advantages that we have here at Lionheart Radio is the fact that we get to speak with a new thought leader, coach, or elite performer almost every day. This, of course, does a ton to increase our personal growth, and we are honored that we get to share their stories with you. We do these minisodes so that we can take the things that we learn and condense it down into a very tangible piece of advice that you can apply to your life or fitness journey. Today I want to talk about a way that you can realistically increase your IQ or cognitive function when you need it. Obviously, there are a ton of benefits to exercise, but most of the time we view these benefits as more of a side effect instead of actually using the exercise as a tool in more than just training. Now, the key to getting smarter is brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which of course is increased when we exercise. BDNF causes brain cells to bind to one another, making synapses and connections between the brain cells more dense. We are literally able to think better because our brain's capacity is improved from exercise. This is a concept I first learned from Spark, written by Dr. John Ratey. In the book, he explores the mind-body connection. He found that even 30 to 45 minutes of physical activity, i.e. breaking a sweat, helps fight memory loss, damper the symptoms of psychosomatic disorders, and even temporarily improve IQ. His findings were that exercise was the most effective way to improve memory and attention. He goes on to cite many studies where students have demonstrably higher aptitude test scores after physical activity. As if that isn't enough, studies suggest that exercise has the ability to trigger the creation of new brain cells in the hippocampus, which is the brain's gateway to memory. The kicker is that exercise alone isn't enough. If the brain isn't immediately challenged with memory and focus following activity, it will lose the new brain cells in just a few days. For this reason, the two must work in concert. I suggest leveraging physical exercise to create new brain cells and then mentally challenging yourself, allowing you to not only focus better and work at a higher level, but also allowing you to keep those newly created cells. It's a win-win situation, and we should all be frequently taking advantage of it. I have actually legitimately used this approach to increase test scores. I took the SATs, and then I waited 90 days, and then I took them again. I did not study before either of them, and did my best to control lifestyle factors that may influence the results. The only thing that I changed was doing a 30-minute jog on the treadmill prior to taking the test for the second time. I realized that I only had an N of 1 and that correlation is not always indicative of causation, but at the end of the day I improved my test scores by just shy of 100 points. Now I know there's also something to be said for taking the same style of test again, but still 100 points is pretty hard to explain away. Another way that I utilize this is by doing 30 to 45 minutes of low-impact cardio prior to trying to get into any kind of deep work. If I have to write or do anything on my computer really, I will first do the cardio, and I've found that I get into a flow state much quicker. The reason that I say low impact is because I've found there to be a law of diminishing return here. If you exercise too hard or cross over to what I would consider training, you run the risk of creating mental fog. Something like the elliptical or the bike, if you can manage to put your ego away, is what I have found to work best. It is also worth mentioning that I have found even better results if I consume a mild stimulant during the exercise. I typically use conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA, plus I use some small dose of caffeine, guarana, or ginseng to help with mental acuity. So hopefully you get some good results from this. If you do try it, please let me know how it goes. As always, we would love to hear your feedback. Thanks for listening to Lionheart Radio. I hope that the information from today's show will make you fitter, happier, and healthier. For the show notes of this episode and every episode, head to www.lionheartrad.io. Yep, just like Lionheart Radio. And please, if you have the time, head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us to know that we're on the right track in delivering you reliable information and value. As always, feedback is welcome. If you have any comments on the show or would like to suggest a guest, send me an email at rick@luavive.com. That's LUAVIVE.com. Thanks for your support, and we will see you next time.
Bitch, I feel good. Don't I look stupendous? My shine is so endless, and shit you can do to end this. Even when I'm dead, niggas still gon' bump that chip shit. Coke, white, Escalade on cinches for you dipshit. So you won't forget this. Midwest nigga be the coldest.